I first heard about the IREX program and the exchange program through Toledo, who had already gone through the program with Lilly Broadcasting, and it was such a wonderful experience for them that I, too, wanted to be involved when they opened up the opportunity to Erie.
I got an email, and I didn't even know if it was real. But for some reason, something told me I should check into it, and I made a phone call, and I spoke with someone at IREX in Washington, and they explained the program to me, and I thought it was rather intriguing.
My partner, he was the assistant news director at the time, it had come up to his attention that IREX was looking for a station to partner with, and he was really involved with Washington and our bureau that was in Washington. So they reached out to some contacts they had there, and he came down and said, "Hey, what do you think about going to Georgia?" And I said, "Okay, what are we going to Georgia for?" He goes, "Well, do you have your passport?" And I said, "Well, why do I need a passport to go to Georgia?" So obviously wasn't very well, I didn't understand that we were going across the seas and going to another country. But for us, it was an opportunity to pay it forward.
Everyone told me what a wonderful experience they had in learning about another country and about how other stations do things, and the fact that it was a learning experience for the people on the U.S. side as well as on the Georgian side, which I think a lot of people might find interesting or surprising.
I think it's a great cultural experience, not only for those of us who are fortunate enough to go over to Ukraine, but when the Ukrainians or the Georgians come back here, they're bringing their culture into our building and giving our employees and our folks a rich cultural experience too. So I just don't really see much of a downside to it. It's all positive.
Throughout my career, I've had a lot of great mentors, a lot of people to look up to help guide me through my career path. And I saw this as an opportunity to pay that forward a little bit, and working with other colleagues and helping them foster the research we have, the knowledge we have, and share the passion and energy and the goodwill that we're able to serve. We're in this business, it's not about reporting the news of the day. It's not about selling commercial inventory and making money. It's about making a difference in the community that we live. And that is done not only by doing toy drives like we just did yesterday, or by doing fundraisers for breast cancer in Coleman and Race for the Cure, but it's also by giving back and paying it forward and helping others. And this program is a shining example of how you're able to do that.
We also have encouraged other stations, and our other station in Elmira, New York is going to be involved with this as well. One of the things that I do, I'm on the board for the Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters, and I have talked about the program quite a bit with my coworkers throughout Pennsylvania, and I think it's a growing interest.
We have employees who, some of them have no opportunity to leave the country or even to leave this region of the country. And that's fine with them. But if we can bring a culture from another country in here to spend a week with them and just anecdotally share some of their experiences and philosophies and thoughts, I think it's a real win.
A lot of our staff is made up of millennials. I would say on average you've got about 60 to 70% of your staff with that demographic of millennials. And one of the number one things we hear about employee retention about millennials is they want to make a difference. And sometimes doing what we do every single day and putting the newscast on the air, and maybe this is somebody who writes web stories, maybe this is somebody who runs the camera or the teleprompter or directs. A lot of times they don't feel fulfilled in their position. They feel like they just come in every day, put a show on the air, and they go home. But they don't realize that their role, no matter how small or large it may be in any given project, really is giving back to this community. So what it allows us to do is to bring those people in and pair them up with a colleague that is also working with the same goals and aspirations. And at the end of a partnership or the end of a week visit that we have, whether it's here or in Georgia, the employees really step back for a moment and realize, I made a difference. I helped somebody today. I didn't come in and just push buttons and put a show on the air, but I paid it forward a little bit, and I may have changed somebody's life a little bit. And when you're talking about millennials and retaining them, that's an important aspect for them in their job. So while we may be helping our partner stations station in Georgia, learning new tricks of the trade and new insight, new ideas, we're also instilling in our own employees and retaining some of the core values that they're interested in.
The first station I worked with, we were able to look at non-traditional advertising and work on a festival that brought in additional dollars, not only on the TV, but some ticket sales. The second station I worked with, we were able to help them promote their station in a more positive and not necessarily positive, but in a larger way. I encouraged them to use logos and market their products throughout the town and make sure that they had logos on their jackets and things like that, that we do just as second nature, but it was not something they had thought about doing.
Hopefully it's helped to make them better broadcasters and think a little bigger, think even more creatively. But what they've done for us is they've made us challenge the way we think about what we do too. We have more resources than some of the stations we've worked at, and sometimes we're maybe not as efficient with the resources we have as they are with the resources they have. So they've challenged us to think more efficiently and to maybe be a little bit more imaginative. Instead of throwing money at something, throw an idea at it and see if we can do it better that way.
My very first trip over to Georgia, they had started their own show. They had put a little set in the side of a kitchen, and they were doing a whole new program. And it opened their eyes to something different. And then when we were there, not only had they started the cooking show, they were working on a toy drive. And not only had they started the toy drive, but we started talking about doing weather forecasting and how important it was. They had never really even thought about it. And then we worked on some graphics for them for their shows and their weather forecasting. So what they accomplished in a matter of, about 8 to 10 months that that program started was amazing.
I have stayed in touch with everyone that I have met through the program, and when I was in Tbilisi, I ran into people that were actually from TV9, and we made arrangements to have dinner and see each other, and I think that was a wonderful opportunity for me and for them. And I don't consider them workers, or they're friends.
I have stayed in contact with every station we've ever partnered with, whether it was Goria TV and Ninth Wave that we partnered with, and now with Mega TV. Facebook is a great thing, and Google Translation only helps so much, but it's enough that we can still stay in contact and see not only what the station is doing, but personally what our friends are doing over in Georgia. We've shared ideas long since the partnership has ended. The partnerships may end, but to me, the friendships never do.
I'm very impressed with IREX. I think they have it right down to a science, and it's always nice to tweak something here or there, but I think, they're 99.9% accurate on what they do.
Fantastic. Every problem was anticipated in advance and essentially avoided. The planning was meticulous. We felt like our hosts were outstanding.
Absolutely. We were able to enjoy music and go to historical sites and see museums, and just walking through towns and hearing about the history was amazing. And I would recommend to anybody to go back to the Republic of Georgia.
We've had dinner at their dining room tables. We've had dinners in barns and had local musicians come play for us. We've had some of our Ukrainian partners close down museums so that we could walk through them at our leisure. We've been to nature preserves. We've just seen some fantastic things.
I really feel like I have a family over there now, and every year that we get a call from IREX saying, would you participate in another program, there's not a moment of hesitation. The answer is always yes, and that's why I've been blessed to have so many partnerships coming through these stations and seeing other people in the station get involved, but selfishly, I like to be involved every single time.